Hi, welcome everyone. My name is Kylan. Welcome to Wake Up and Feel Amazing Bioenergy Healing with Michael Dalton. My journey with bioenergy healing has been about 5 or 6 years now. I finished the practitioner and teacher training about 5 years ago. And I gotta say, waking up and feeling amazing is probably the number one thing that changed for me. I was stuck in my drama, I was moody, everything was a big roller coaster up and down for me. And bioenergy, practicing, learning, helped me to balance myself, find my power, and learn how to express myself in completely new ways. And my life has transformed since then. So I'm really excited for you. Michael has been practicing bioenergy for 24 years. He has a very interesting style, and he brought bioenergy to Canada about 12 years ago. And he is going to share some stories with you today that I hope will inspire you like they inspired me. And without further ado, I give to you Michael Dalton.
Let's give Colin a big round, please. Oh, let's give her a big round. They say the number one fear is public speaking, more than terrorism. As Colin said, I'm Michael Dalton. It's my pleasure to share with you bioenergy healing tonight. And as Colin said, our talk is Wake Up and Feel Amazing. Are you excited?
Yes.
We'll see. Okay, so would it be okay if I shared with you how I got into bioenergy and the principles behind the energy work that we're going to talk about tonight? Very good. So over about 24, maybe 25 years ago now, it seems like a long time, and I was suffering with asthma and eczema. And I had gone to doctors, I had gone to specialists, and my hands were covered in rashes, and I had terrible breathing problems. And I had gone I waited to see this one particular specialist that was a 2-year waiting list in a fancy clinic in Dublin called Blackrock Clinic. And when I got to see the specialist left me waiting an extra hour, so it was like 2 years and 1 hour. And the specialist looked me over. And after I was so in my mind, I was thinking, when I get to see the specialist, I'm going to get better. My hands were raw. They were just like raw with eczema, skin condition. And they were so painful. And I just thought, when I get to the specialist, they're going to get better. And so I went to see the specialist. The specialist looked me over. And after about 10 minutes, the specialist looked at me and said, "You have eczema." I know, right? And I was like, yeah. And it was like, well, you'll take this cortisone cream, and that's basically it. I'm like, but it doesn't work. I've taken that for years. It just doesn't work on me. And that was it. That was the end of it. And I couldn't believe it. I thought, like, after waiting 2 years to see someone that not only that they would know what they're doing, but that they'd be able to fix me, right? Like, that's what one would imagine. And so my background was mechanical engineering. And so I wasn't at the time necessarily open to someone coming and waving their hands around and doing healing on me. But I think after that point, I was so frustrated with the medical profession. And I was just so frustrated with being sick. And I genuinely really believed that I was supposed to be healthy. I don't know if any of you have ever felt that if you're being sick, but I genuinely felt like I'm supposed to be healthy. I'm not supposed to be sick. I was just a young guy, and I was like, I'm supposed to be healthy. Why do I have these conditions? And so I was very frustrated, and it was at that point when I saw a treatment called bioenergy healing on the TV. And there was these people there, and they were talking about bioenergy healing, and they were doing some demonstrations of it. And when I first saw it, I thought they were crazy. I thought they were for the crazy bin. They were they were waving their hands around other people and saying that they were healing them. And I have to say, in my mind, I was like, yeah, right. And I was very skeptical. I'm not afraid to admit I was totally skeptical of it. And my grandfather was an engineer, my father was an engineer, my brother, then me. And so I was following that very left brain kind of direction. And so the idea of energy healing was kind of way out there for me, and at the same time I was just desperate for something to work. And there was people in the audience on this TV show that said they had had asthma, some of them had eczema, and they had gotten better. And so I thought, well, if I go and it doesn't work, I haven't lost anything. I spent years and thousands of dollars looking to get better, because in Ireland we have to pay for our medical treatment. It's not naturally free. And so I'd spent a fortune and I'd gone to everywhere, and I thought, well, if I go to this and it doesn't work, I haven't really lost that much, so I thought I'd give it a go. And so I was so busy after the TV, but I waited about 6 months. I got in, and there was a hotel room full of hundreds of people, and I gradually, over a couple of hours, made my way up to the top of the room, and there was about 6 people, 6 practitioners at the top of the room doing the healing, waving their hands around. And every maybe 20 minutes, 6 people would stand up and receive their treatment, and then the next row would move forward, and it would just be like that for hours and hours. And at the time, the practitioners were doing it for donations, so they weren't even charging for it. It was just like, it was crazy. And so because some of the people were moving around and they were being pulled with the energy, so I thought they must be being paid to do that. But you know, so in any case, so eventually it's my turn, and I get up there, and this lovely young girl says, what would you like treatment for? And I said, I have asthma and eczema. And she's like, okay. And she didn't ask me anything else. She just stood me up, and then she started waving her hands around, and I was like, okay, you know. And so I'm standing there, and then after a moment, she starts massaging my arse. She starts doing this, and she's massaging away. And this is a hands-off treatment. So you can imagine my surprise, because nobody else is having their arse massaged. And I've been watching this for hours, you know. And so I'm standing there, and she's massaging away, and she's not she's not half doing it, like she's massaging, and I'm really getting hot and bothered, and I'm a lot younger than I am now, and I'm like going really hot and red and hotter, you know, and I'm looking at the people who are waiting for their treatments, and excitedly, but they're all staring forward, and I'm looking at them, and I kind of look back again, and I'm like, so, you know, there was a certain pressure, and I mean, she was also very attractive, so that didn't help. But in any case, I could take no more, and I turned around to give her the look, you know, the look that you're massaging my arse, and, you know, not that I'm complaining, I just think there's a time and a place, right? But I turned around to give her the look, and unbelievably, she wasn't touching me. She was standing behind me, and she was just turning her hand. And she wasn't touching me. And in that moment, right there, I knew this energy stuff was real. And then what happened next put shivers through my spine for days was that I could feel things moving through my body. I felt like this sensation moved down my spine, like this cold sensation moved down my spine, and then just as if it just got pulled out my lower back. And it was a 4-day treatment over 4 consecutive days. And it was like a little pilgrimage. I'd gone all the way to the west of Ireland, which doesn't seem very far to you, but 3 hours of driving in Ireland takes 12 hours. So the roads were a bit dodgy back then. So over the 4 days, literally the eczema started disappearing from my hands. By the 3rd day, my hands were completely better from the eczema. And all they'd been doing was clearing out, waving their hands around, clearing the energy. They didn't make me wait, 2 years, but they just cleared the energy out. And then another thing that happened was my breathing. I'd always had trouble like catching my breath. Like, if you want to understand asthma, think of someone that has an older brother, and the older brother is sitting on your chest. That's how I would describe asthma. You can't catch your breath. You're trying to get him off, but he just will keep sitting there, and you're just like, you just can't catch it. And that's what it was like. It was kind of like not being able to breathe is a hard, challenging experience to have. And so it was like about the third day in, I had 2 inhalers, and I took both inhalers and I threw them in the bin. And the reason I threw them in the bin was my breathing was just completely better. And how I knew it was better, it was as if that pressure that was on my chest was just gone. And there was something really weird about it. The reason I threw the inhalers away was that I knew that I was better. I don't know how to explain it other than that the healing wasn't just physical, but it was on some other level as well. And on this other level, it was like the emotional and the mental, and even what I begin to understand now as the spiritual, that the healing had taken place on all these different levels. And by the 4th day, both my asthma and eczema were completely gone. And that was, I'd say, probably 24, 25 years ago. And that's why I still do bioenergy now. And that's why I bring bioenergy to people, because the experience was so profound that I thought, why isn't everybody doing it? Why doesn't everybody know about this? And why aren't we bringing healing into our own hands instead of medication and drugs and all these things that were in this kind of like a roundabout. The roundabout where you're driving around, it's like a repeat business. People are going back and back and back for more treatment, all the time. But the problem with repeat business is that if you have to keep going back, it surely isn't working, right? Like, as a logical thinking person, if you keep going back and having more treatment, then obviously what you're doing isn't working. That's the definition of insanity, right? That's what Einstein calls the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And so I think for me it was just, I guess I've seen how, people come into the clinics and they'll get an amazing recovery, and they say, thank you so much. And then they walk away and you may never see them again. And they're just so grateful, but you don't see them again. And then there's other people who they come in and they get better and their feet are stuck to the ground. They're like, how? How? Like, how am I better? How are my migraines gone? How is my back pain gone? Where is it gone? How is it possible? How is it possible? Multiple sclerosis, cancer, arthritis. How is it possible that, you're healing this? And that second category of person, I was one of those. After I got better, I couldn't leave. I was like, how? How is this possible? Why isn't everybody doing it? Why doesn't everybody know about it? And that just led me down a journey into, I guess the best way I can describe it is that, an iceberg, when you see a picture of an iceberg or a film of an iceberg and you see the top above the water, and, that's the bit that you see. And then you have the water, and then underneath the water, they tell us there's another 90% of the iceberg. Isn't that true? And if they have like a camera and they show you underneath the water, you can see that other, like how big the iceberg is, that we're only actually looking at the tip of the iceberg. And I think for me, it was like, when I experienced bioenergy and I experienced the effect of it on my body and my mind and my heart, I just felt it just kind of opened me up. And it was as if I had been looking at the top of the iceberg, and that was my life, and that the physical body was real and solid, and the world is physical and made up of atoms and very linear, very left brain kind of thinking, you know, A, B, C, you know, to get to D. Very kind of engineering is all about structure, and that's how I perceived the world. And then all of a sudden, it was as if I was immersed underneath the water and I saw the rest of the iceberg, that this whole world came, opened up to me. And to me, that's what energy healing is. It's like this world, this magical world, where I got immersed into feeling and experiencing energy, just opened up. And I've had the opportunity, I've been very fortunate to have helped, you know, tens of thousands of people to waken up their energy system, to waken up their energy field, to open up to their body's energy, and even the opportunity to not just turn people's health around, but you know, getting people healthy, but then also teaching them how to put the healing in their hands. So not only can we do it for other people, but we can also do it for ourselves. And we can receive healing, we can do healing in others, and we can even do self-healing. There are no limits to it. There's no limits to what we can do with our own natural healing potential. And it's so exciting. And that's what I want to share with you tonight, is how to bring that energy, which is already in your life, but how to bring more of that into your life, how to wake up to that energy. And it's exciting. It's really exciting. And it's when you see someone who's had pain in their body for 20 years, and after a few minutes of working on them, they're like, oh, my pain is much better, you know. And I was working on a lady today who said that, and she, you know, she's like, my pain is so much better. And I'm like, that's great. And it's like, no, but you don't understand. It never changes. And in a single session, her pain levels have gone down. And there's a gentleness in bioenergy. Like, it's very gentle, it's very non-invasive, but it's incredibly powerful. And the most wonderful thing is that everybody can do it, because we're not healing anybody else. We're just simply taking the blocks away that stops your body from healing itself. And so what I'd like to do tonight is to kind of give you an understanding of your body's energy and your health, and how pain affects your energy. And not just physical pain, but emotional pain, and how that affects your energy levels. And of course, stress. Stress is a big influence on our health, isn't that right? Yeah. And so how we can see like a better idea of who we are, that we're not just this physical body, but we're so much more than that. And as we begin to open up to that, you can start doing wonderful things, not just with your health, but with your mind, with your heart, with your body. You can start doing phenomenal things. Does that sound good? Yeah. Excellent. Are you excited?
Yes.
Very good. Okay, so when I was in Ireland, I opened up clinics in Ireland, Northern Ireland, England, Scotland, and then bioenergy was also featured on most of TVs and newspapers, stuff there. Then when I came to Canada, it's been featured about 8 times now on different TV shows, and including Remedy Me, which was on the Oprah Network. And one of the in that they featured 2 episodes, but on one of the episodes they had featured a girl called Pinky, who had eczema, and she had eczema on her face, and I was very excited to treat her because of my own success with eczema. And while I was treating her and they were filming it, her eczema started clearing over the 4-day treatment while they were filming it. and the camera crew were so excited. They were like, they had been filming for a year all these different therapies all around the country, all over Canada. They had been looking at alternative therapies, they had been traveling with it, they'd been all over the place. And then they witnessed bioenergy, and they were just blown away by the effectiveness of it. So much so that the camera crew, the sound crew, and the producer all took the bioenergy sessions and training. And then the editor, who was out in Newfoundland, moved to Vancouver for 9 months to take the bioenergy it was a 9-month course, and who had moved to Vancouver for 9 months to take the 9-month training course. And it just gives you an idea of the impact that it has on people. The first girl that trained in Canada actually was from Winnipeg, and she had a treatment of bioenergy, and then she decided to come home, pack up, moved to London to take the training course with me for 9 months, and then moved back to Winnipeg and started up there. And it's like, sometimes people will do crazy stuff, but you wonder, well, why do people do stuff like that? Because of the impact that it has on them. Because when you see what you haven't seen before, and you open up and you start seeing what you didn't see, it's so exciting. So let's look at what, say, for instance, first of all, let's look at our physical body. You have a wonderful physical body, don't you? Yeah, give yourself a little tap on the heart and say, I'm tapping my breast here, but give yourself a little tap on the heart and say, I have a lovely body. You have a wonderful body, right? Like, it's so important to acknowledge your physical body, right? It does so much for you, I tell you, as an engineer, there's no pump out there that matches what your heart is doing every friggin' day for you. The heart is pumping blood and oxygen through your body more than any other pump out there. Like, it's crazy. That's just one system of your body. All these incredible systems of your body that are working to keep you healthy. And your body, your body is amazing. There's about 70 trillion cells in your body. 70 trillion cells. And what's amazing with that is that we look at ourselves as a physical body. We are this physical person, and we are these cells, and of course cells are made up of atoms, and we're these physical beings. And yet at the same time that we're also not. We're also electrical beings. And the reason we're electrical beings is because every one of those cells has 1.17 volts of electrical potential. That's a lot of electrical potential, right? We're powerful, powerful electrical beings. And every electrical field also has a magnetic field. So we're not just electrical beings now, we're also electromagnetic beings. And then it goes even further than that we're not just a physical body and an electromagnetic being, but if we take the physical body and we put it under a microscope, the cells of the body, the solid appearing atoms, the physical building blocks of the universe, under a powerful electron microscope, are made up of nothing. Empty space. That inside of you is empty. You might know a few people like that, huh? There's a few people you didn't think you were, but you know a few people that might be empty. So when your mother says, what do you have between your ears? Well, if I said nothing, I wouldn't be far from the truth. But it's not an emptiness of nothing. It's a fullness of non-physical, non-material intelligence. And it's information. That's what's inside of us. What's in us is information. And what information is energy. We are energy. We're energy beings. And the electromagnetic field around us is just simply an expression of that energy, but that's not even who we are. We're so much more than that. When you think of yourself, you might think of your physical body and you have spirit in you, but it's not that you're a physical body and you have spirit in you. You're a powerful spiritual body, and you have a little physical body. And your physical body is a very, very small expression of who you are. You're a powerful spiritual being. Say that with me. I'm a powerful spiritual being. Give yourself a little tap on the heart and say, I'm a powerful spiritual being. You are. You're this powerful spiritual being. And what's amazing is your physical body is responding to you. It's responding to your environment. It's responding to your experiences. So let's jump away from the physical body for just a moment and look at how it's responding. Well, probably the number one cause of all the problems in our life, no, it's not your mother, no, the number one cause of all the problems in your life is stress, right? Stress. It's stress. Everybody has it, unless you live in Maui. There's no stress in Maui. But for the rest of us, even in a beautiful city like Vancouver, there is stress. And, you know, if you're in a relationship, is that stressful? Yeah. If you're with them now, don't look at them, or they'll know. And, you know, if you're in a relationship, it can be stressful, right? If you're not in a relationship, is that stressful?
No.
Yeah.
So you only have a relationship with yourself.
Yeah. So if you're in a relationship, it can be stressful. If you're not in a relationship, it can be stressful. I have lots of people come in for sessions and they say, I have some relationship problems. I'm like, what are they? They're like, I'm not in one. You know? And they're stressing over trying to find the right person. They're ready to have a child. They don't even have a partner. And, you know, so a lot of times people stress over relationships. And then you have work. Even if you love your work, is it stressful? Yeah. Every job has a certain amount of stress in it. Even if you love it, there's things about it that can be stressful. And if you don't have a job, is that stressful? You know? You might say it's not stressful if you don't have a job, but usually then people will often have financial problems. There's stress in not having a job. There's stress in not having something to do. There's stress in having too much to do and no time to do it, and then there's stress in having too much time and nothing to do. So I do think like that. Basically, there is stress. You know, if you have money, if you have no money, is that stressful? Huh. If you do have money, is that stressful? That can be stressful too. So maybe you'd rather have that stress though than the other one. But in any case, my point being is that life itself is not happy camp. It can be. Life is wonderful and magical and beautiful. But it's also difficult and hard. And it's not like the images on Facebook. You know, like think about it, right? You know, you see these beautiful images of you know, a mother taking pictures of her kid on Facebook, and she posts a picture of her children on Facebook, and you know, and you look at, oh, she has such beautiful children, oh, the love, oh my God, that's so wonderful. The reality, she's screaming and shouting at those feckin' kids to stay quiet for 1 minute, just for 1 second to take a darn photo. And when threatening doesn't work, she says, I'll buy you feckin' candy if you just stay quiet and smile for the picture so that I can post it and tell everyone how good my feckin' life is. You know, and they're like, okay, you know, for the candy, for the iPad, for their phone, you know, and I think that's probably a truer image of life, you know. Would any of the parents here maybe agree with me a little bit? Maybe? One lady, thank you. The rest of the people are in a river in Egypt. Bless you. So, like, what I mean is that life itself, life is stressful. And we have all these different kinds of stress, whether we admit it or whether we don't. There's the image we show the world, and we show the world how wonderful we are and how wonderful life is and how good everything is. And then at the same time, sometimes people aren't even telling people that they're sick, that they're ill, that they're unhealthy. People come into the clinics, and I just get to see it, right? I get to see people are sick. I get to see why they're sick. Sometimes their own family doesn't even know that they're sick. You know, some people hate their job. I don't mean they dislike their job. I mean they hate their job. I'm like, why don't you get out of it? They're like, oh, because I'm going to get a pension from it. I'm looking at them thinking, well, when is that? Because they look quite young, and they're like, oh, in about 15 years I'll get a pension. I'm like, wow, you're going to stay in a job that you hate for 15 more years? I'm like, how long have you been in it? They're like, 10 years. I'm thinking, I don't think you're going to last 15 years. Or maybe you just last long enough to get your pension, and then I think you're going to hit the bucket at the end of that. So, you know, but it's like, what happens is that, you know, when people come in, they could be in relationships that they don't want to be in. And I'm like, well, why don't you get out of it? They're like, well, there's the financial support, and we have a nice house together, you know. And so there's a stress in that. Like, there's a stress in staying in things that are not working. There's a stress in leaving things. If someone has the courage to leave something, that's stressful. Right? To sell a house, to go through a divorce, to move country, anything like that. You know, those things are stressful as well, right? They also can be exciting and renewing and replenishing, and it might feel like the best thing you've ever done, getting out of something that isn't working and making changes in your life. Even if it's changing a job, it can be the best thing you ever do, but it can still be stressful. Moving house is considered one of the most stressful things you can do, next to getting married. You know, which is crazy when you think about it, right? Yeah. Getting married is up there as one of the most stressful things you can do. You know, getting married is it turns people into Godzilla's bride. You know, but people, it brings out the worst in people, right? And so you have. My point being here is like that I think that's a truer image of life. You know, when I've had the opportunity to work with thousands of people, you know, and on the outside they look wonderful and everything's wonderful, but on the inside there's people struggle. They have their challenges, and it's not just some people. In my experience, it's everyone. It's just that some people are better at covering it up than others. They're better at hiding it than others. But when you're involved in training and you've worked with thousands of people, you'll see that we all go through the same stuff, and it's okay. It's okay. There's what I call normal and what I call natural. And it's normal at the moment for people, because of the stress in their life. It's normal for them to feel tired and drained. It's normal for them to feel, you know, pain in their body, and to feel like they don't want to get up in the morning. You know, forget about waking up and feeling amazing. They don't want to wake up at all for some people, and that's the norm, right? And at the same time, the natural, if we look at, well, what's natural? I think what's natural is that we wake up with energy, with vitality, that we wake up and we feel good, because that's what children do. And anybody here that has children will know that. They wake up and they're full of energy. Hello, I'm alive. That's what children are like. They're like, it's morning, ma, da, where are you? Get up, feed me, play with me. Where's the dog? Where's the cat? That's what kids are like. They're just, they're like that. They're full of energy. They're full of life, until we beat it out of them. But they're full of energy and life, you know. And they're like, come here. A parent will leap out of bed, fly through the doors thinking there's a fucking emergency, and they run into their child, and the child is trying to get the leg over the cot, and they're just like, I'm up. The parent's like, it's 5 o'clock in the feckin' morning. And the child, I'm up, I'm ready to go, you know. And kids have that. They have that life energy. And you were once a kid. Give yourself a little tap on the heart and say, that was once me. Give yourself a little tap on the heart. That was me. You were once a kid. You once had energy and vitality and aliveness. You look at a kid is like a tourist. They're walking out the street, they're looking at everything. Right? They're looking at everything. I have a little fella, Gabriel, when he was 2, it would take us like almost a half an hour to get to the beach. We only lived 2 blocks away from the beach. It was just he would go into every entrance, like a dog, sniffing everything, just exploring. Ah, look, a plant, you know. Ah, look, a bit of sticky chewing gum, you know. And kids just explore everything. They're into everything. And we were like that. We were alive with energy and vitality, you know. And you might still be alive with energy and vitality, or you might not be. It shows up on your face, in your body, in how you carry yourself. It's everywhere. You can't hide it. It's who you are. It comes out of you when you're not feeling your life energy and you're suppressing yourself. It comes out in you as illness and sickness. And that's the thing that I learned. That's what I've learned over these 24 years. Sorry, you guys are in the splash zone. I'm just excited. But I know you want the news, not the weather. But I'm excited to share this stuff with you. And that's the kid in me. It's still here, still going. But the point being is that we have this powerful, beautiful, spiritual, creative energy inside of us, and it wants to express itself, and it wants to be alive and flow through us. And when we suppress ourselves, when we suppress our creativity, when we suppress our fun and our pleasure and our joy, and we stop looking forward to our day, and we stop doing the things that we want to do and stuff, when we're suppressing any area of our body, then we close down the natural flow of energy. And there's a flow of energy, there's a circulation of energy that moves through the body. I'm sure you've heard of the chakras. Has everybody heard of the chakras? So the chakras are energy points placed throughout the body that are basically points of greater electromagnetic energy in the body. And so there's the crown chakra. What's it called, please? The crown. All together twice as loud. The crown. And then there's the brow chakra. What's it called? The brow. And then the throat chakra. What's it called? The throat. All together twice as loud. The throat chakra. No need to shout. You may as well laugh now. The jokes don't get any better. And then there's the heart chakra. What's it called? The heart. This is the love center. And then we have the solar plexus center. This is the power center, the fire center. Ow. No, I'm just teasing. This is the fire center, our power center, you know. And then we have the sacral chakra. This is the fun and pleasure, creative center. And then we have the root chakra. That's our grounding, our connection to the earth. And it's also our structure and family and foundation kind of energy. And so these 7 chakras are points of greater electromagnetic energy in the body. They correspond to the 7 major glands of the body, from the adrenals to the ovaries and gonads to the pancreas to the thymus to the thyroid to the pituitary and the pineal. And so it's from these chakras, these energy points, that the energy moves through the glands and turns into physical form, into what the body can use. And these chakras, these energy points, all create auras, energetic fields out around the body that become what's called our biofield. What's it called, please? Our biofield. Or if we're talking about it from the Eastern philosophy, we would call it the aura. And so we have this biofield, this electromagnetic field out around the body. And when we feel good, this energy field opens and expands. And when we feel down, this energy closes and withdraws. And here's the crazy thing is that stress can really make us close down, you know. And at the same time, if we're in a life where there's always going to be stress and we can't avoid stress, why is it that some people get sick from their stress and other people don't? And that's what we're going to talk a bit more about tonight. Would that be good? Because not everybody is getting sick. And not everybody is staying sick. But there's people that get sick and they stay sick for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. I've treated people with 45 years of illness and sickness. 45 years, right? That's older than all of us in here. Isn't that right? Yeah. So your body is this powerful healing machine, but it's not always working. So there's a couple of different things here. One is sometimes we, despite the fact that we have stress, we may not be getting sick from it. And then someone else is getting sick from their stress. And then there's people that when they do get sick, they're not getting better. And there's people that when they do get sick, they are getting better. So one of the things that I found was that when the energy system gets blocked in the particular chakras, there's a corresponding physical blockage in the body. So when the physical body is being physically worked on, being manipulated in whatever form that is, because we think of the physical body as, you know, the physical body is real, it's solid, so we tend to treat it with, you know, physical treatment. We'll do drugs for the chemical side of it, we'll do massage, physio, chiropractors, because we see it as a physical thing, and so we'll do physical treatment. But the thing to understand about your body is that, you remember I said your body is just energy. Your body, under electron microscope, it's not as physical as you think it is. It's an illusion. You know, the Tibetans call the body the Maya meaning illusion, that your body is an illusion. And there's a beautiful concept which is the body is like a river, meaning that, you know, the river is always flowing, but you can never step into the same river twice because it's always flowing. And your body is like that. Your body is constantly changing, constantly renewing itself all of the time. And the amazing thing with this is that radioactive isotope studies show that your body, 98% of the cells in your body were not there last year. So this physical body that you think that you are wasn't even there last year. Never mind 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or 45 years ago, which is crazy. How can someone be sick for so long when they don't have the same physical body that they had last year? Never mind 10 years ago. And so for me, I think as I started learning about energy, this is where it got so exciting. Because your energy field, these chakras and this aura that we're speaking about, is the blueprint. It's the blueprint of the body. And the chakras, they work like photocopy machines. When they have a trauma or a blockage in them, they keep repeating it back into the body year after year after year, unless it's removed, unless that blockage is removed. And so what I find is, like, you know, when I said bioenergy healing is just someone waving their hands around, gathering up the energy and throwing it away, that's basically what it looks like. But when someone says, you know, how do you describe bioenergy healing? I would say the best way I describe what a treatment is like is this is before a treatment. You're carrying something around with you. And then this is after treatment. And you're like, I don't know what you did to me, but I feel lighter. I know what I did. I'm like looking at the baggage we pulled off them. But it's just they're lighter, they're freer. And that's what bioenergy, it just lightens the body, it frees the body, it takes trauma out of the body, it releases the body, it heals the body, and people feel lighter and they feel freer. And it's like an onion, it happens in layers, you know. You could give someone a session and it'll heal one thing, another session will work on something else, and some sessions may be working on the same thing. It's like an onion. People have layers of trauma and blockages on their body. Layers of conditioning and programming, and think about it too, like when you think about society, as wonderful as society is, people love to tell us what we can't do. Isn't that true? They love to tell us what we can't do. So we have what's called the hypnosis of social conditioning. What's it called, please? The hypnosis of social conditioning. We've been conditioned to be ill. We've been conditioned to be sick. And of course, it's a huge, massive industry around our sickness and our illness. It's called repeat business, you know? And my idea, I guess, it's just a concept that I have, which is that healing and recovery should be a referral business. You get better and you tell other people about it because you're so excited, you know. But a repeat business, if you think about it, if you keep going back for more treatment and more treatment and more treatment, does anybody know anybody who's having ongoing treatment? Over and over. I don't mean a course of treatment, but I mean courses of treatment, you know. And in my mind, I just think that if someone is going to a practitioner for like 4 years is not uncommon. In my mind, and this is just, I think of myself as a logical thinking person, but in my mind, I can't imagine how in any way that practitioner can actually see that client getting better if they've been treating them for 4 years. There's some people come to me and they've been having treatment for 8 years from different people. And I'm like, it's not working. And they're like, what do you mean it's not working? I'm like, you're still sick. And they're like, do you think I should stop going? I'm like, it's not working! And they're like, well, the practitioner might be upset with me if I don't go. I'm like, you should be upset with them. They keep bringing you back. I honestly don't know that practitioner can see that client getting better when they've treated them for that long. Does that make sense to anybody? Yeah. Right? You can't treat someone for years and then suddenly think, oh, they're going to get better now, right? You know, and so, I mean, of course, I've treated people with all kinds of injuries and disabilities from accidents, and they have bioenergy, and all of a sudden they start getting movement back in their body. Like you could have someone that can't raise their arm here, and they've been doing, 2 years of physio on their arm, and I give them 4 treatments of bioenergy, and they're doing this. They're touching the other shoulder, and then the physio turns around and says to the person, "I'm glad to see it's finally working." You know, I'm like, look, if it hasn't worked in the past 2 years, it didn't suddenly just start working in the past 4 weeks. You know, it's something else was introduced, and what was introduced was bioenergy. You know, and that's, if you want to get a different result than what you're getting, you have to introduce something that you haven't currently introduced. Does that make sense? That's breaking the insanity, breaking the roundabout, breaking the repeat pattern. So when I look at stress, I think what happens is that we have our consciousness, and even though we all have different stresses, we're not all getting sick. And I think a lot of it has to do with our passion for life and our love for life. And what I've seen is that, some people will say to me, Michael, the reason I have a bad back is because I'm working on a computer for 8 hours a day. And that's fair enough, right? That makes sense. But the point is, there's lots of people working on computers for 8 hours a day and they don't have bad backs. So why is this person getting it? And you can say, oh, well, it's their posture and it's the way they're sitting and stuff. But what I found is, and this is my experience as a practitioner, is how people recover, is that it's actually, you can have someone, say someone who's involved in research, someone who really enjoys, they're working on a project. They could sit at a computer for 16, maybe 18 hours a day, day after day after day, working away on a project, probably sitting in a really bad posture, probably not even eating properly. And they can do that day after day after day, and they will not get sick. And why? Because they're passionate about what they're doing. They feel alive. And the difference is their aura, this biofield, is out there vibrating. It's loving what they're doing. You know, it's excited. Do you know if you take a happy person and you inject them with a flu virus, they will not get it. But someone who's run down, you know, you wouldn't even have to inject it into them. Someone sneezes, oh, I hope I don't get it. They're susceptible to it. If you get angry, you know, for getting angry, in just a moment, your immune system shuts down by up to 5 hours. So make no mistake, your emotions have an instant impact on your physical body. When you feel, because we're feeling beings, we're not just physical bodies, we're not robots, unless we are. Maybe we're becoming robots, you know, we're on our phones, you know, we're becoming technology, right? We're becoming part of the phone. But I genuinely believe that our natural state is, we have this energy and this vitality from the earth, and it flows up to our body when we're in nature. Do you ever feel good when you're out in nature? We got the beautiful Stanley Park here, you know. I think I saw something that said it was voted one of the nicest parks in the world, and it's right here on our doorstep. Don't forget to go out in it, you know. But we have this beautiful park, and you know, I've seen people walk around the park, and I've spoken to a few really sweet people who are like, one lady is 93 and she walks the park every day. I'm like, wow, like that's amazing. You can have someone who's 70 and they're an old 70-year-old. And you can have someone who's 70 and they're a young 70-year-old. And you can have someone who's 60 and they're an old 60-year-old. And you can have a lady like this who's 93 and she's walking the seawall every day. So age is more of a mentality than it is a chronological. Your body is responding more to your mentality of your age than your actual chronological age. Your body is responding. And let's come back to the body for a moment, because the body, as I said, is very unique. The same cells in your body are making up the different organs in your body. When they take a cell and they put it into a petri dish and they put it into different environments, so whether it's the environment for heart cells or brain cells or kidney cells, the same cell adapts itself to the environment that it's in. So the same cell can become a heart cell, it can become a brain cell. Basically what's happening is inside of your body, your cells of your body, the new cells that are coming into your body, are responding to the environment that they're in. And when you feel down or unhappy all the time, if you're giving out, if you're blaming, not that anybody in here would blame, would they? No, of course not. That'd be the people out there. And not that anybody in here would complain, right? We're not complainers. You know, sometimes people complain for sympathy. Sometimes people complain because it has become their way of thinking. But when we complain, we take our aura and we close it down. And then the environment that the cells are renewing in are more unhealthy. Does that make sense to anybody? And that's when the same stress that we all have, but now that stress starts affecting us in a negative way. Now that stress starts seeping into the body, starts breaking up the natural flow of the body, starts breaking up the natural regeneration system of the body. So when we're under stress and we feel negative and we give our energy, we give our power away, and then the body starts to respond to that. But when we feel happy, when we feel positive, when we're in love, you know. And it doesn't always have to be with a person. It's finding, just feeling love. When we feel happiness, when we feel joy, our energy just opens and expands. Our aura opens and expands. You can see it in people's faces. They're smiling, you know. They're happy, you know. Someone's walking down the street and they're just happy. Have you ever seen anyone like that? Yeah, right? You've seen someone. You know, hopefully you'll wake up tomorrow and you'll see them in the mirror, you know. They'll be a little bit closer to you. It's not a stranger in the street anymore, because knowledge is a powerful thing. Because what knowledge brings is awareness. When you become aware of something, it's very hard to keep doing what you're doing, right? When the more you become aware of something, it's very hard to keep doing what you're doing. So when you see your challenges, when you see where you're losing energy, where you see where you're working against yourself, it's very hard to keep doing that. Because I genuinely think that we're working against ourselves. There's nobody else out to get you. It's you, right? The biggest problem in your life is you. It's not anybody else. I know we're complaining about everybody else, but the biggest problem in my life is me, and the biggest problem in your life is you. Give yourself a little tap in the heart and say, that would be me. That would be me. Yeah. You are the biggest problem in your life, and the biggest problem because not only is the job that you're in, or the relationship that you're in, or where you're living, or all of those external things, not only is all of that environment influencing you, but nothing is influencing you more than how you think and feel about yourself. You know, how you think and how you feel about yourself. If you're going to eat that candy, you better give one to everybody. We all had to listen to it. Thank you. Yeah. But I know it's a medical emergency. Hungry woman. Yeah. Code blue. Okay, no. But seriously, if you have snacks, feel free to eat them. So, for us, like, our perceptions is that it's how we perceive things that determines whether they have a positive or negative effect on us, not the things themselves. And so when we feel good about stuff, as I said, our energy opens and expands, and when we feel bad about stuff, our energy closes and withdraws. And it's not the actual events, it's not the actual stresses, it's how we interpret those stress. And that's what's creating, in my experience, that's what's creating illness and sickness in the body. So when we interpret that we have to do everything on our own, when we interpret that, you know, it's up to us to do everything, when we interpret that there's no support for us, we start getting problems in this lower area here, in our tailbone. When we feel unsupported, when we feel a lack of financial support, we start getting problems here in our lower back. Where, please? In our lower back. This is our financial area. And then, if we're lacking fun, fun. You've got to say it with a bit of fun. If we're lacking fun, we start getting problems here in this sacral area. This is the fun center, the pleasure center, and the sexual center. What center is it? The sexual center. So this is the fun, this is the hips, right? This is the movement and flow. So when you're lacking fun and pleasure and joy in your life, you start getting problems with your hips. You start getting challenges here, right? So, and then in the solar plexus, as I said, this is your power center. This is you standing up for yourself. This is your confidence. This is you believing in you. And this area starts showing up when you lack that, when you're working against yourself, when you're arguing with yourself, when you're in conflict with yourself, when you're in conflict with other people. This solar plexus, as an idea for you, is your root chakra is related to your feet and your hands, and your sacral chakra is related to your ankles and your wrists. So when you feel guilty about something, you're very likely to injure an ankle or a wrist. And if you're in conflict with someone, if you have a row with someone or a fight with someone, you're more likely to injure your elbows or your knees. And that's why when people you have an argument with your partner and then you walk into a table, you're like, my fucking knee, you know? And it's not, the table was always there. You know, the table didn't jump out in front of you. It's just when you're angry, your aura goes like, and then like there's a reaction that takes place, and so you banging the knee is your way of like expressing that anger, you know, that you didn't maybe express to them. Now if you communicate to them and you release that upsetting feeling, you probably won't bang the knee. But if you keep it inside you, if you keep that anger and you suppress it down, the body doesn't like suppressing things down, so it looks to release, it looks to express. But anger is an energy that releases much faster than other things. So that's why you're more likely to injure yourself, because it's an immediate reaction, right? Then you have other things like the heart chakra. When the heart chakra is open and flowing, we feel love. What do we feel, please? Love. We feel love, we feel happiness, we feel contentment. But when the heart gets blocked, we have trouble receiving love, we have trouble taking things in, we have trouble accepting love, acceptance even from other people. We have trouble accepting ourselves when the heart chakra is blocked. So the heart chakra plays a huge role, of course, in our heart, in our lungs, in our circulatory system. And so when this chakra gets blocked, and it could be through grief, it could be through trauma, it could be through, you could have a person who they've had a partner pass away or a parent pass away, and they get congested in the back of the heart chakra. They get blocked up because the loss of a loved one. And that they haven't expressed that grief, or it hasn't passed through them, they've just held on to it. And so what happens is, this is what my experience of the body, how the body works, is that something happens and you have an emotion. So like say you lose someone that you love, and you have an emotion, and in this case the emotion is grief. And grief is not a bad thing, grief is a really good thing. You're supposed to grieve. You're supposed to feel it, right? The problem is, if you think of emotion, it says motion. We're supposed to feel it, we're supposed to experience it, and we're supposed to accept it, and then at some point, we release it. But when we don't accept it, when we don't express it, then what we do is we hold on to it. And when we hold on to it, it blocks up the body's natural energy. It blocks up, in this case, the back of the heart chakra. And then when that blocks up, that causes problems with the heart and circulatory system, and to a lesser, well, actually not even to a lesser degree, but even the lungs as well will start to congest when the back of the heart chakra is blocked. So when we don't express anger, the solar plexus blocks up. That can be the pancreas, that can lead to things like diabetes. When it's the heart, we get heart or circulatory stuff. And then the throat chakra, this is the communication center, the expression center, the creative center. So when we're expressing and we're communicating, this energy point is releasing the energy, it's expressing itself. And we feel good, we feel creative. Isn't it nice to feel creative? Yes. You know, and then other times people say, you know, I feel really stuck. You know, they're not expressing their creativity. They're not expressing that creative energy, right? I think that nature is our healer, and you know, I'll be the first one to say that I love technology. I love technology, who doesn't, right? I think the thing is, though, we have to find that balance between nature and technology. And the throat chakra is about expression and communication. And one of the things, it does sadden me in a way, one of the things that I see is like that, you know, as wonderful as technology is, the thing that can, you know, that can bring us closer to people who are further away, takes us further away from the people that are close. And you see that, right? Like, especially living in a city, you know. When you're in the city, just everyone's on their phone. Everyone. You know, I was out on a seawall and there was a family sitting out on a bench. I'm like, oh, isn't that lovely? The family's out on the bench. You know, the only problem was the father was on the iPhone, mother was on an iPhone, one of the kids was on an iPad, and the other kid was on an iPhone. Now, it was lovely in that they were all sitting down beside each other and they were outside. But what was really sad was I thought, maybe, you know, you don't think it's sad, I think it's sad, because I think what happens is, like, you have this family of 4 people, and and this kid obviously had their own iPhone, because they weren't using the parents, because the parents were still using theirs, you know. But it's like, they probably were posting some pictures or something of the wonderful time they're having. But the point, I mean, is like that, I think that when we put the phone away, we have to actually communicate. This energy point, this throat chakra, we have to speak. We have to communicate to each other. And I think that people are forgetting how to do it. People stand beside each other and they don't even say hello to each other, but they're forgetting how to communicate. You know, oh, I'll just text something on Facebook, you know. So they're communicating through technology instead of this technology, instead of this chakra right here. And in my experience, one of the biggest problems people are having right now with their health, and I'm treating thousands of people, like, is their throat chakra, communication, expression, creativity. When you ask people what's going on in your life, they're like, well, I'm just broke up with my partner. They're a terrible communicator. In what way? They don't talk to me at all. You can be with someone and they're not there. They're on their phone. I walked by this restaurant, and there was 2 girls at the restaurant, and they were sitting at the table and they were both on their phones texting. I'm thinking, who are they texting? Maybe they're texting each other. Are you here yet? Yeah, I'm here. Where are you? No. Oh, I'll look up from the phone in a minute and just see where you are. Let me just close this off. You know, and it's like people get lost in technology, and you know, I'm the first one. I have my phone. You know, I'd be the first one to say, you know, my son could be watching TV and he's like, Dad, can I have your phone, you know, so I can play a video game? I'm like, but you're watching TV. He says, I'm bored. Can I watch a video game while I'm playing TV? Or can I play a video game while I'm watching TV? You know, that's what the kids want now. They're bored. I'm like, no, of course you can't. I'm on Facebook on my phone and watching TV. You know, I need it. You know, right? No, you can't have my phone. I'm using it. You know, where are they learning? They're learning from us, right? They're learning from us, from you and me. You know, I admit it, right? I admit it. Like, you know, they're learning from us. And we have to find this balance, because the environment that we're creating for our physical body, see, your physical body, you don't have the same body you had 10 years ago or 20 years ago. Your body is responding to you now. Your body is responding to the messages that you're giving to it, and the disconnection. And so what I found was that illness and sickness is the body's way of saying to us, wake up! You're not connected. You're disconnected. And so the more connected we become in technology, the more disconnected we may be. I'm not saying we are, but we may be becoming to our physical body, to nature, to trees, to the plants, to the earth, to the ocean. Having your bare feet on the sand fills your body up with free electrons. It reduces inflammation in your body. Inflammation is the #1 cause behind disease. Every week there's an article about inflammation, the cause of disease. You know, naturally having your bare feet on the ground, not on the carpet, but on the actual earth, replenishes your body, recharges your body, energizes your body, and helps to reduce inflammation. You know, now when your energy system is blocked up, when you've been repeating the same patterns over and over, when you have trauma or an accident or something has happened, the specific chakras may have gotten blocked up, and sometimes are just too blocked or too congested to clear themselves by themselves. And that's when we need to come in and help clear them out of the way. But no one heals you. That's your body does that. That's how magical your body is. Your body can heal itself when we're not in the way. When we get out of the way, the body can heal itself. The problem is we've trouble getting out of the way because we're so conditioned. The hypnosis of social conditioning. You can't heal yourself. You can't fix yourself. You're a chemical system. You're genetic. You know, your conditions are genetic. You don't have control over them. This is a genetic thing. This is an addiction. This is something outside of your control. And the more we've heard that over and over, we've been told that story for so long, and now that's the story that we tell ourselves. You know, oh, well, there's nothing I can do about it. I don't have charge of my health. I don't have the capacity to get myself better. And so I think for me, it's like understanding healing and energy is about putting your health back in your hands. You know, no one can stop you thinking. No one can stop you thinking. No one can stop you saying, I choose to be healthy. No one can stop you willing health and wishing health into your body. You know, even if you have arthritis and you're not able to move or dance, no one can stop you from seeing yourself dancing. Right? You have the power in your mind to choose and think for yourself. And with a bit of encouragement and support and help and clearing out these blocks out of the way, people are able to start thinking and feeling and putting their attention back on their own awareness. And when they start doing that, their body starts to adapt to a different environment. See, everybody's focused on fixing the body or changing the body, but you have to understand the body is an effect. It's not the cause. You've heard it so many times, cause and effect, and you know of it. But do you really know it? See, my understanding is that if we really knew it, we wouldn't be only treating the effect then. We'd be looking for the cause. So when the body breaks down, when we break down, when it becomes normal to be ill or sick or have pain in the body, when that becomes normal, then communication has broken down between our body and our connection to the earth, between ourselves and each other. Because even your connection with each other reduces the stress hormones, increases endorphins. Hugging each other releases endorphins in your body that makes your body happy, that gives your body a natural boost. Don't you feel good when you hug? Yeah, it's nice to hug a stranger. I mean, don't do it outside on the street, right? It's frowned upon, you know. And but despite that, just connection to the earth, to the trees, to the plants, to nature, to ourselves, to the food that we're eating, looking at the food that we're eating. Is there any food in this food? Is there any nutrition in this food? And making choices that support us, that help us. There's things that we can do. We can exercise. We can eat healthy. Of course there are things that we can do. But the other point is we need to look at the cause behind why the body is responding the way that it is. And that is that when the energy becomes blocked in a specific chakra, the environment, the information that the chakra is receiving is then feeding that information into the new organs, tissues, cells, blood, bones of the body. It's the blueprint. It's telling the body how to function. It's telling the body how to be, and it's telling the body how to become. And then what we do is we feel disempowered, so we look to try to change the outside environment. And we look to change jobs or change relationships or change something outside of us. But if we don't change what's going on inside of us, if we don't change our thinking, if we don't change our feeling, if we don't change the expression of our energy. See, the reason I say the throat chakra is so important is because it's about expression. and we're expressive beings. We're supposed to express ourselves. We're creative. We're all here to express this creative life force that we have inside of us. You know, when kids are young and they go to school, and the teacher says, they might be like just a few years of age, and the teacher says, how many of you are artists? You know what all the kids do? They all put up their hands. I'm an artist, I'm an artist, I'm an artist. And they go into another class, how many of you are singers? Once again, all the kids put their hands up. They're all singers, they're all artists, they're all gardeners, they can do anything and everything. That's how they perceive themselves. Now you go a jump from 5 years up to 10 years, and you ask the same questions, and there's a lot less hands up. You take another jump up to the age of 15. There's been a study done this, and up at the age of 15 there might be one hand in a group of a whole classroom for an artist, for a singer. We have perceived ourselves in a certain way. We've listened to all the input, all the environment. Oh, you can't sing, you can't dance, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, and we take it on board, and then our body responds to it. Unless it doesn't. Unless we start waking up again. We start waking up and we start choosing. We start making a choice. How do I want to feel? What is it that I want to do? I don't know that there's ever been a time in our life where we're free to do the things that we want to do as we are now. You can move continent. You can get in an airplane and fly to another place. I know I did, you know. You can move country. You can change religion. You can get a new job. You know, you can, if you're in a job that you don't like, there has never been a time in life where you can get out of that job and find a new job. There's never been a better time as there is right now. Does that make sense to anybody? If you're in an unhealthy relationship, you know, there's never been a time where you can support yourself in getting out of that and getting help and getting into a new relationship, or no relationship at all, but just sometimes it's better to be in no relationship than to be in an abusive relationship or to be in the wrong relationship. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Never has there been a time in our lives where we have so much access to education, to learning, and in so many ways technology is wonderful because technology gives us that access. We just need to find the balance between technology and nature. And nature, or the nature of our body, is communication, is expression, and it's passion. The passion to do the things that we want to do, the passion to live more fully, the passion to show up in our lives, in our body, you know, in our relationships. Imagine being in a relationship with someone and they're not there, right? They're on their phone. You know, they'll be there in a minute. I'm just on a call. You know, I have this beautiful idea, and the idea is that if you're with someone, put your phone away. There's an app for it. It's called Respect. Right? And you put the phone away and you just communicate. I was in Toronto at the weekend, and I was coming back on Monday, yesterday, and I had this driver, and the driver, he was the sweetest man, but he was telling me he was 74 years of age, and he was driving the car, and the drive was at least, 40 minutes or so to the airport, and we spoke the whole way, non-stop. And I think he said he just got out, and he hugged me and thanked me at the end of it, but he was like, he got all of this knowledge and wisdom for his health. He had all these health issues and we're talking about everything from diet to his children to everything. But I have to say, in the beginning I almost felt like, when he started talking, my first reaction sometimes oh, are you going to be talking? You know, but you know, as I just, because I was trying to text, right? I was in the back of the car, I'm trying to text, and then he's talking. I was like, he's not getting the hint, so I was like, okay, I'll put it away. And then, you know, as I started talking, I have to admit that was the highlight of my day yesterday. Was that taxi ride, talking to that man, and his gratitude at the end of it. And sometimes the greatest gift that we can give someone is our time, right? You know, it's the greatest gift that we can give them. And so I think like that, when we communicate, when we express, when we're allowing that life energy to come to us, just like that child wakes up in the morning. It's morning! How are you doing? They're alive. Children are alive. They let you know that they're alive. They scream out your name at 5 in the morning to tell you that they're alive. And you should be too. And you're like, go back to sleep. I don't want to wake up. They're like, wake up. And you're like, no, I don't want to wake up. I want to sleep longer. And they're like, wake up, it's the morning. You're like, there's not even light, the sun isn't even up. The sun is up, it's me, I'm your son, get up. That's what kids are like, right? Kids are alive. They wake up and they feel. They feel, that's all it is. The amazing comes after. It's just because they're feeling. And when you take the time to connect with your body, this wonderful body that you have, give yourself a little tap on the heart and say, I have a wonderful body. And you take the time to feel your body and connect with your body. See, when you get sick, it means you weren't listening. You weren't communicating. Your body had to get sick to bring back the connection, right? I know we don't want to hear that. I know it's great when the doctors and the medical profession tells us that illness is coming from outside of us, or it's genetic, it's your parents, and you have nothing to do with it. It sounds great, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful for repeat business. And it's wonderful because we don't have to take responsibility, and we can say, oh, it's someone else's fault. Look, I'm not saying that you choose to be sick. I don't think anyone chooses to be sick. I don't think you wake up and you say, I want to have arthritis. I don't think we choose to be ill. But I do think we get to choose our response. I think that we get to choose our response to life. Does that make sense? We get to choose our response. We get to choose, what are we doing from moment to moment? Are we connecting? Are we disconnecting? Are we happy? Are we sad? And more importantly, are we opening or are we closing? Because if you're going through your life and you're closing and you're closing and you're closing, then that can only lead to illness and sickness. And so the work that I've been doing over the years, I think what it is, it's opening people up. That's what it is. It's just, it opens you up, you know, just to feel. So when, as Colin said, you know, after bioenergy, she felt amazing. She started feeling. Amazing comes after. But feeling what your body feels. You know, sometimes when I work on people, pain comes up in their body. They're a bit surprised. They're like, Michael, what have you done to me? I'm like, I'm helping you feel your body. They're like, I didn't have the pain before. I'm like, the pain was always there? You weren't feeling it? They're like, no, pain wasn't there before. Well, I didn't have it in my pocket, bring it into the session, and when you weren't looking, slapped it on your back. If the pain comes up in your body, it's because it's in your body. But sometimes people, they keep thinking, no, but this is how I am. You know? See, we lose energy. The reason we lose energy to pain. Because we feed pain with the energy. We feed, like, to have pain in your body, it's like a fire, you need to put fuel on it. If you've got pain in your body, energy has to feed it. Otherwise, it won't exist. It needs energy in order to function. So when you have a physical pain in your body, you're losing energy to that pain. Now, no one wants to feel pain, isn't that right? Unless you're like a sadist or something. But you don't want to feel pain. 50 shades of pain. You don't necessarily want to feel pain. So what we do is we suppress the pain down in our body. Now we're losing more energy. We're losing energy to the pain, and we're losing energy to suppress the pain down inside our body. Now here's the crazy thing. When you take a painkiller, painkillers don't stop you feeling pain. They just simply, they don't get rid of the pain. They just stop you feeling the pain. They're painkillers. They stop you feeling the sensation of pain. So the pain is still there. So when I work on people and the pain comes up in their body, I'm not putting the pain in there. It's just I'm allowing them to feel what their body is feeling. And when people initially start feeling their body, they might feel tired. They might feel really tired because their body is tired. Their body's worn out, it's tired, it's haggard, it feels like, because all the crap we're feeding it, all the negative thoughts is even worse than the food. Our processed thoughts are worse than the processed food, right? And so the body is just bombarded with all of this crap, and it's working so hard to eliminate all of these toxins. Think of all the processed food we're eating and all the toxins in that processed food, and the body is working so hard to eliminate all those toxins. One of the greatest things you can do for yourself is to eat a little healthier, and you'll eliminate at least some of the toxins so that your body doesn't have to work as hard to eliminate them. Your body, when your energy is flowing freely, your body will do an amazing job of eliminating those toxins. But when it gets overwhelmed and when it perceives it to be stressed, it won't be able to eliminate the toxins at the rate at which you're absorbing them. And then we have this imbalance. So we come back then to, you have this powerful natural healing ability inside you, and when your energy is flowing freely, your body is eliminating toxins, it's releasing stress, but more importantly, it's releasing emotions. You feel and then you release. You feel and then you release. And because we've stopped feeling, we've disconnected ourselves from our feeling of what's actually going on inside the body. Because we've stopped that connection to the body, we don't even feel our pain anymore. We don't feel our physical pain. We don't feel our emotional pain. Because emotional pain, make no mistake, robs energy just as much as physical pain does. In fact, it might even be worse. Because at least with a physical pain, you know what you're dealing with. But emotional pain seems to affect us on so many levels. And we don't want to feel the emotional pain. We don't want to feel these traumas, so we suppress them down inside the body, and then we lose more energy to keep them suppressed. And when it's resentment that we suppress, unfortunately, resentment eats away at the body. Guilt eats away at the body, Pain, sadness eats away at the body. Anger eats away at the body. So people, they become sick and they're like, how did this happen? It's not, you don't just wake up one day and you're sick. It's slowly coming into your body. I've treated a lot of people who've had heart attacks. And they said to me, before they had a heart attack, that the writing was on the wall. I was like, it is? And they're like, what, meaning that they knew they were going to have a heart attack. And I'm like, how did you know you were going to have a heart attack? And they're like, oh, well, everybody told me. I'm like, well, how did everybody know? Now you're getting worried, right? Like, be careful who you listen to. But people said to me, if you don't slow down, You're overworking, they get sick. See, if you get a cold, your body is saying to you, slow down a bit. You're burning the candle at both ends. The average person, upon getting a cold, might take a little bit of time off, recuperate, reset themselves. But if you're a little bit stubborn, you might be, well, feck that cold, and you keep going, and then you get a flu. And a flu is a little bit harder. A flu can kind of put you on your back. A flu is a little bit more like, you got to take some time off. But if you're really kind of stubborn, and you're like, well, feck that flu, won't take me out. You get up and you still go to work, and you're in there and you're working, and your body is drained, but you're like, the body, who needs the body? And you're like working away to meet the deadline. You know, that's the point right there when people say you've got to be careful, because they know what's going to happen. And what they know is they see it. They see you're pushing yourself too much. And that's when the heart attack is the body saying no more. And a stroke is very similar. A stroke is like if you had somebody working in a job and they said, I'm not doing, if there's no communication between the management and the people working in a job, they go out on strike, right? Or they go out on stroke. That's what's happening. When you're not listening to your body, it goes out on stroke, right? It's saying, look, there's no communication here. I'm not going to continue doing this for you, not at this level. And so your body is communicating. When there's things that you don't want to see in your life, you start getting problems with your eyes. When there's things that you don't want to look at, right? You get problems with your eyes. When there's things that you don't want to listen to, you start getting problems with your ears. When you feel unsupported, you start getting problems with your lower back. When you have trouble taking things in and digesting them and assimilating them, you start getting problems with your stomach, your digestive system. Your body is responding, to your experiences, to the environment. And more than anything else, you are the environment, your consciousness. And it's for that reason that I think it's so important for us to learn and to practice how we think and how we feel and how that goes through the body. Because the body is an effect, and your thoughts and your feelings that are influencing the electromagnetic energy of the body, and the spiritual energy of the body, the emotional energy of the body, the mental energy of the body, these layers, which is what I've come to understand as the rest of the iceberg. That we're all looking at the tip of the iceberg, and what we need to become aware of is all the rest of the iceberg, right? All the stuff that we don't see. And what we don't see is the thoughts and the feelings and the language that we're using. The language that we're using to recreate the same illness over and over. The conditioning, the programming, the lack of awareness, the lack of being awake. We're sleeping. We're sleeping like the Matrix. Where it's kind of like a matrix, You take the blue pill or you take the red pill. I go back to sleep, or I wake up. I wake up and I become aware, or I sleep a little bit longer, just a little bit longer. It's comfortable. So what I look to do, I guess, is just bring people in touch with that life force energy, this beautiful, magical, powerful, spiritual life force energy, which is you. For want of a better name, you can call it love or passion. But this life force energy, this love, is you. And when people stop loving themselves, when they stop loving their body starts to get sick. When they stop listening and stop communicating to their body starts to get sick. For some of you, it may have even been uncomfortable just to tap on yourself on the heart and say hello to yourself. Right? It's okay to say hello to someone else, but to talk to yourself? Are you crazy? That's the problem. We've lost our connection to our expression. Our body is an expression of our mind, of our heart. And so we need to get back and look at, what are we expressing? Are we expressing what it is that we want? You know, if we're in a relationship, are we actually there? Are we there? Are we with real people? Are we able to hold even their eye contact for a moment? And that's the thing now with the kids, right? Look at the kids. See how long they're able to hold the eye contact for. They're losing their attention span, right? So we need to make some changes. We need to, you know, exercise and diet is something that's not anything new. That's something that we've always been. That just makes sense, right? Exercise and diet will always help you improve your well-being. You should exercise and you should eat healthy. That's a given. But the bit I feel like that people are missing is that when you're not aware of your energy, your life force, and the impact that it has on your physical body, then you start going down this path at some point of ill health. You start going into things like chronic fatigue, or back pain, or migraines, or arthritis, and your body starts going down those paths. And my goal is to help give people the tools and the skills, so that as you start going off that course, to bring you back onto course, to give you a system that you have in your hands, so you can put your health back in your hands. But you have to first see it. You have to see that you're the cause. If you don't see that, then there's nothing I can do for you. You must conceive that you have the biggest influence over your body than anybody else, even more than your doctor. You have the biggest influence over your body, because it's your consciousness that the 70 trillion cells in the body are looking for instruction. They're listening to you. They're asking for instruction. And so how you think and how you feel and how you direct yourself influences your energy, which influences the cells of the body. Does that make sense to anybody?
Yes.
Very good. So as we become aware of all this, the next chakra up, of course, is the brow chakra. And the brow chakra is about awareness. It's our intuitive center. It's our ability to see. Our ability to see. And we've lost our ability to see. We've lost our ability to see our patterns, to recognize, you know, what's happening. We've lost that to some degree. And, you know, I find like, I know when my little fella, when he was 2, he would try to hide, and kids are terrible at hiding, aren't they? Like a 2-year-old, he'd be over here like this, and I'd be like, you know, I think most fathers are probably as bad as me. They're like, I can see you, you know, and so then what he does is like, he'd be like, I'm like, I can still fucking see you, and then he'd be like this. You know, I'm like, I can still see you, find a better hiding place, you know, and then 2 minutes later, I can still see you. But women are brilliant. I think women are wonderful. I think, like, I love them all equally. I think that women, a kid will be hiding there, and a mother will be like, where are you? I can't see you. And the kid is laughing away, like chuckling away with the bum sticking out from behind the banner. And the mother's like, oh, I wonder am I getting closer? I can't see you. Oh, there you are. And the kid is like laughing their head off, you know. And I think like women have that beautiful capacity for stuff like that. I think, you know, at the same time though, you know, we've stopped seeing, we've stopped noticing, we've stopped becoming aware, you know, of what's happening. And I think in reality it's very hard to hide from people that can see you, because they can see you. And so what we need sometimes is someone to help us to see our patterns, to see our stuff, because we don't see our own stuff. We don't see our own patterns. We like to think that we do. We all like to say that we do. But we don't see our own stuff, and sometimes we need to work with others to help us see what we're not seeing. You know, to help us move through our blocks, to help us put down what I call our chairs. And I find when I work with people that everybody's carrying a few chairs, some more than others, some for a long time. And they get heavy, folks. They get heavy. And so if you're feeling a little bit heavy, not a lot, but you know who you are. If you're feeling heavy and you're feeling like you've got some stuff to put down, then I'm going to ask you to let us work with you, to come and experience bioenergy. Now, tonight after our seminar, I have a couple of practitioners coming in so that you can experience bioenergy really cheap, $20 for 20 minutes. Isn't that cool? And you're more than welcome to stay. You'll go down to Kyle and put your name down, and then she'll organise a treatment for you. $20, 20 minutes, you get a chance to experience it. It's just a taste of bioenergy. But more than that, what I really want to share with you is that, you know, go and have some treatment. Have a course of treatment. You want at least 5 treatments of bioenergy as one course of, 5 sessions as one course of treatment. And some people only need one course of treatment. It's not something that you keep doing week after week, month after month. It's not a repeat thing. It's you come, we work on you, we help you put down the chairs. And the thing is, the way bioenergy works is it releases, as I mentioned to you earlier, the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual. And the reason I say that is because what I find is that if you don't release it on all those levels, when people put their stuff down, you know what they do when they go home? They bring it with them. They just bring it with them because they're still emotionally attached to it. So you can release the physical from the body. You can take pain away out of the body like that. But if you don't release the emotional attachment to that pain, it'll just keep coming back again. So having a proper course of treatment, 45-minute sessions, weekly or daily for at least 4 sessions and a follow-up session after a month, I think that that's one of the nicest gifts that you can give yourself. Sessions with most of the practitioners are approximately $100 for about an hour. With myself, I'm at the Electra hot floor. It's $145 for 45 minutes. I think it's the best gift that you can give yourself. And as I said, if you say, well, what do I get from it? This is heavy. Like the heaviness that you feel in your body, it's suppressed pain. That's what it is. It's suppressed pain. So when we put the pain down, and we bring it up and we get you to release it, then your energy starts to free up. Your body starts to free up. Your chakras start to free up. The renewal process begins to take place without the trauma locked into it, without the patterns locked into it. And it's like an onion, just peeling away the layers, getting you back to your vitality. Like the kids, right? Aliveness, energy, you know, that you feel like it's like you feel happy, like you feel joyful, like you just feel. You feel. And when you start feeling your body, see, when you have all this crap in your body, what you're feeling is the weight and the strain of this. That's what you're feeling. And that's why you don't want to feel. That's why you take your awareness out of there. And your awareness is up here. You know, it's in your future or it's in your past, but it's not here. It's not with your partner. It's not with your children. It's not present. It's always somewhere else because it's uncomfortable for you to be present. It's uncomfortable for you to be in your body because that's heavy. Right? Your traumas, your past, is your childhood. It's all that accumulated stuff. So when we put it down, it feels better being in your body. In fact, one might even say it can feel amazing. You know, and it's nice when you wake up and you feel it. It's really nice. The only difference between waking up and feeling that It just really, it depends on what you're carrying. It has nothing to do with anybody else. It's a relationship that you have with you. You have a relationship to your past. See, you can say to me, Michael, but I got a lot of crap from my parents. And maybe that was 20 years ago. Maybe 20 years ago, you're like, my parents gave me this when I was 20, you know. And that might be true, and I'm not denying that. But 20 years later, is it really still your parents? Who's holding on to it? Right? Until you see that it's you, you're going to keep holding on to it. But when you see it's you, then yeah, my parents gave this to me, but I don't have to keep holding on to it. Take that for a moment. Thank you very much. So you don't have to keep holding on to it. But we do, because that's what we do. Unless we don't. Let's give her a big round. Thank you. Yeah, you don't have to hold on to it, but that's what people do. We take on, and then we have our baggage, and then we pass them on to our kids, and we pass them on to our grandchildren, and that's what we do. Unless we start to free ourselves, we start to come back to our nature. So I encourage you, come and have sessions, have treatment, experience bioenergy. Like I said, you don't have to do it for years, you just a couple of sessions. You know, a course of treatment is only 5 sessions, and it's powerful. It has an ability to get in there and heal your body from the inside out. Heal you from the inside out, your mind and your heart. And you can tell yourself, well, I'm just going to leave and think positive. But I think you've tried that before. And all the self-help books at home will tell you it doesn't quite work. You need to get you out of the way. Because if you're still thinking in the same way, even though you have an intention to think positive, the challenge is that 10% of you, that conscious mind wants to change, but the 90% of you, your subconscious mind, is still running the old program. So we need to access the energy system to release the trauma and the past from your subconscious. Because if we don't release it from there as well as the conscious, you're going to keep getting the same result no matter what you do. So it's not about focusing on getting rid of the chair. It's about us focusing on the energy that's holding on to it. Because putting the chair down is easy, folks. Putting down our past is really easy. It's like that. And like sometimes I say to people, why don't you just put it down? They're like, oh, Michael, it's very hard to put it down. Right? So that's the environment that the cells are receiving. It's very hard to let go of it. It's very difficult. And they're in that consciousness that it's hard to let down. It's hard to put it down. Does that make sense? Very good. So the other thing that I offer as well as sessions is training. And training is teaching people how to do bioenergy. Teaching people how to do bioenergy for themselves, for their friends, for their pets, or whether they want to learn it professionally. If you want to learn it professionally, we have an amazing course that takes place every November in Costa Rica.
What, every November and what?
Costa Rica. In Costa Rica, I know, and there's Howl in Ireland. Oh. There's howler monkeys. We don't have those in Ireland. We have Guinness, but we don't have the howler monkeys. But it's a 2-week intensive training course in Costa Rica in a beautiful place called Blue Spirit. And Blue Spirit is in the blue zone where people typically live over 100 years of age. It's the most magical place. It's in Nazara in a blue zone. And the venue is a yoga center that's one of the nicest yoga retreat centers in the world. And so it's what we do is we give people some few months of video training, then we bring them there. People come from all over the world, and we give them the bioenergy training, and then at the end of it, then they have a case study project. So it's a phenomenal way. You have this amazing training program that we do. We have this incredible venue, this incredible training, all together in this magical place. And if bioenergy is something that you're interested in learning as either for yourself or personal development and understanding your chakras, or whether it's something that you're ready for a big change in your life and you want something dramatic, there's something in it, I think, for everybody. you know. Now, as well as our international training, we also have a level 1 trainings, and level 1 trainings are here in Vancouver, and they take place every couple of months. The level 1 training consists of 2 training days where you learn the first 12 bioenergy techniques, powerful bioenergy techniques that help to get rid of pain in the body. You can measure their pain level before on a scale of 0 to 10. You can treat them, you can measure their pain after. And even after 1 weekend of training, you can bring their pain level down. It's phenomenal. Do you think that would be useful in your life at some point?
Yeah.
Do you think that you will know someone in pain at some point? You know, if not yourself, your children, your parents, someone's going to be in pain. And once you learn it, like, the weekend is $14.97, but we have a special on this year because it's the 10th year anniversary of setting up the bioenergy school in Vancouver. So we're doing 50% off the training. And so once you learn the bioenergy techniques, you'll have them for the rest of your life for free. And then you can do them over and over on yourself, on family and friends, even on pets. And children and pets respond really well because they don't have that resistance. They just respond. And as I said, when we finish tonight, the practitioners that are here will be available to do sessions, and even in a room like this, even in 20 minutes, you get a taste of bioenergy. It's so gentle, it's so subtle, but it just starts to lighten you up. It starts with just that feeling of, I feel lighter. And then that lighter feeling starts to expand through your body, and it starts to release your body. It starts to heal your body from the inside out, and it happens at a very subtle, gentle level called energy. And you, my friends, are energy. Everything about you is energy. And so the workshop, you're learning how to do the 12 bioenergy techniques to open up your energy system, to release your energy. You're learning how to do it for other people. And that's what I really want to do, is I want to get people doing healing back in their homes, to bring healing back into your family, like bringing nature back into your home, the nature of you, which is natural health, the nature of you, which is putting that healing power back in your hands, rather than feeling disempowered. You know, I always remember my brother saying, when I left engineering to do bioenergy, he's like, why are you doing that? You know, and one time I went to a party, and his son was having a birthday party, and his son was inside on the sofa with a terrible pain in the stomach. And I went in to see him, and I did 5 minutes of bioenergy on him. And then the son jumps up, walks around, and he continues on in the party. My brother comes up to me and he's staring at me. I'm like, what are you staring at? You're being weird. And he's just staring. And he says, I want to take your training course. And he had always been against it, and now he teaches bioenergy in Ireland. And it's just because he felt so helpless with his own son. And that's what I mean about bring it back into our hands. Let's take responsibility for our health again. The bioenergy training weekend not only teaches you the bioenergy techniques, but it gives you this mental training to break the repeating patterns in your life, to break the cycle of thinking and feeling in the same way, to change the language that you're using. Because the thing is, if you don't know what it is that you're doing wrong, you're going to keep doing it regardless. Even though you have the best of intentions, you need the right exact tools in order to make the changes with the mind and the heart, so that the body will follow. And that's what we're giving you in that weekend. We're training you in breaking down the thought process, breaking down the language of what activates the subconscious mind. And then we do also law of attraction. Do any of you like law of attraction?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you've watched The Secret, right? You know, law of attraction, I think, is one of the most exciting subjects there is. It's what could be more positive than understanding that your thoughts are creating with energy, right? What could be more exciting than that? And so law of attraction I teach this wonderful subject on it, and I break it down into 3 very specific steps that you need to do to make law of attraction work for you. I have this way of, in the way that I work, I have this way of taking these concepts and bringing them down and helping you get them in your body. It's very much, people, it's not that you don't know of this stuff, but you know it up here. My job is to help you get it in here, help you get it into your body. I'm very good at what I do, and I hope that you'll give me the opportunity to show that to you. If you decide that you want to take that training course and for any reason you don't like it, I'll give you a full refund on it. But the point with that course is that in one weekend, it just starts bringing your health back into your hands. People walk away from that weekend and they're just blown away. They're just so inspired by what they're capable of. And they end up getting promotions, all kinds of stuff just happens instantly after the weekend for people because their consciousness is different. And we are consciousness. And this is what we need to work on. And we spend so much money on all the crap that we don't need in our lives. I'm very big into take that money and put it into yourself. Because you are the most valuable thing that you can invest your money into. You are. That would be you. Who would that be? Me. Give yourself a little tap on the heart and say, that would be me. Me. Very good. So if you're interested in taking the training, never has there been a better time to take it. It's $745 instead of $1497. So if you're interested in it, come and see me before you leave here. But I guarantee it will transform you. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. Thank you. Thank you. Another hug.
Thank you.